One of the highlights for GMIS, for the students and for the teachers, were field trips, and we did both domestic and international. Domestic I'll discuss next time, but today I'm going to focus on the international side through a few stories within our international field trips. There was always one rule though, very important for field trips: 10 fingers, 10 toes. Students and teachers had to come back with 10 fingers and 10 toes. Simple as. Okay, so let's get on with the stories, and the first one is in the UK. We only went to the UK once. I was hoping for 20 or 30. We ended up with 11. I think 4 or 5 Indians, 3 Korean and 3 Indonesian. Anyway, so there was myself and the tour guide. And we hit a lot of places. We hit London, of course, Stonehenge, Edinburgh. But one of the highlights was to see Manchester United. And of course, we'd booked the tickets, we got to the hotel, checked in, and the tickets didn't arrive. What to do? Well, I can't disappoint them. So I says, look, let's get on the bus and off we go. So the bus driver, our coach driver, says, I can take you but not bring you back. So off we go. No tickets, but of course the tour guide gave me the money that I paid. And when we got to Old Trafford, you know, it was already 100, 150 quid for tickets because this sold out. Anyway, we go to the ticket office and I explained to them the problem. She says, well, can you prove who you are? Oh, Jesus, I'd already told the kids to leave their wallets and things at home. But luckily, 2 of the Indian girls had brought their Gandhi GMIS IDs. So I showed. She says, look, come back in 10 minutes. We'll see what we can do. Go back. She says, all right, I can give you the tickets, but you're going to have to split up. I says, oh, no problem. Got the tickets, gave the kids the tickets, and we met back, because we all split up. I was with 2 Korean lads, and we met back at the store at the end. Very, very, very lucky. Man U, of course, won the game 1-0. It was against Middlesbrough. They'd highlighted the cup, and of course, the kids were happy. They'd seen Rooney, Ronaldo. Oh, and by the way, here's something interesting. The 2 Indian girls, I didn't find this out for maybe a month later. They got lost and they ended up in the tunnel inside Old Trafford. And true story, all of a sudden the players and Ferguson are passing them. Anyway, they were seen by a steward and but Ferguson spoke to them. How amazing, what a lifetime experience for those 2 Indian girls. Anyway, true stories about Old Trafford. By the way, there was one other thing that happened on the UK, and passports will come into this quite a lot. 2 Koreans that came, or 3 Koreans that came, they were all under 16, and when I got to the immigration side in London, they wouldn't let them in because they hadn't got signed permission from the parents. Oh my God. Anyway, I convinced the immigration guy, thank you, whoever you were, and we got through. But it could have been real tears at bedtime if they'd have been sent back. Anyway, that's the story of the UK.
Yeah.
Our most visited field trip abroad was Singapore. We went to Singapore with different grades, maybe 6 or 7 times. And 3 stories come to mind. The first one is, well, Bali Zoo, or should I say nighttime safari. We used to book for Halloween, and it was brilliant. The kids would enjoy. The university used to put on a show where they'd have zombies and ghosts, sometimes scaring the kids. The last time they did that was about 8 years ago, and we went the year after. There was no zombies, no. Anyway, I asked why. Can you believe the answer was, oh, it scared the animals? Can you believe that a lion is scared of a bloody kid in a zombie suit? What a load of rubbish. Anyway, that was the end of Nighttime Safari Halloween. Singapore, Universal Studios, the zoo, lots to do in Singapore, and always we'd stay in great hotels. The second story is about the supervisor we had. I won't name him, but he was very arrogant. I used to, what would we say, I used to run the show when it came to field trips. I was in charge, but I'd always have 3 or 4 teachers. But this supervisor decided not to listen to me. He'd only been in Indonesia 6 months. He'd never been to Singapore before. And I'd stated already, look, be very careful on the roads. Don't jaywalk. Of course, he's not going to listen to me. He's the supervisor. So he takes 5 kids, or I'm about 100 meters away. There's nothing I can do. He takes them jaywalking halfway. A car, I'd say a Porsche, but I'm not sure. It's zooming along. Of course, he thinks he can stop the car by just walking in front of it. My God, I thought we'd lost 5 kids and him. As it's approaching, it speeds up. And right at the end, he goes like this, thank God. But what an idiot. The final story I'll talk about Singapore was my last visit with kids, and it wasn't actually something that I had organised, but the principal wasn't happy with the 2 girls teachers going. He wanted somebody with experience, so I ended up going as well. It was okay. We stayed, I think, if I'm not wrong, at the Hard Rock Cafe, but as we're going, we go through customs. I get this call. I'm at immigration at the time. I'm giving my passport to the passport officer, and I've got this call. Mr. Philip, do not send my son. I do not agree that he's not going with Garuda. I said, but I'm trying to explain to her that I'm not organising it. I don't know what exactly. If you take my son, I'll have the police waiting for you. Anyway, in the end, I said, look, you can't go. And of course, the immigration officer got a bit annoyed with me. But he didn't go. There were repercussions. She tried to get her money back. She tried to get me fired, but it didn't work. But yeah, you got to be careful with passports. And of course, we'll finish on passports. We had a very successful trip, I think grade 8s, to Thailand. We'd already done 1 Thailand, this was the 2nd. Really successful. One lad lost his shoe or lost his watch, and minor things. We get back, fantastic. Again, we're at immigration, we're stood in line. Little Johnny here, he's left his passport on the plane. No. Now, it was my duty to make sure, even past customs, that all kids were reunited with their parents. All right, so we tell somebody in charge, and they go and check the plane, see, okay, this is his number. I mean, I'm thinking 50-50, but guess what? We are in luck. And the passport came. Oh, that would have been a nightmare. Anyway, those are stories from what I will say the international field trips. Next time, domestic. And as always, Baba, don't be a sheep.